Assalamu alaikum. Hello and very warm welcome to another episode of Success Stories of Small Cities. Today I have got a very special guest with me. When I say special, it means he is like my best friend, brother, Abrar. The reason why I choose Abrar is because he is going to be an emerging entrepreneur of Bahawalpur. And why I started with him, because like he started with grassroots level, like with very zero investment, and then alhamdulillah he is now running a distribution of the famous beverages brand. And obviously due to copyright issue I cannot mention the name of that brand. I know Abrar like more than 15 years, and we started our ACCA journey together, and then he moved to the United Kingdom for further studies and lived there for like 4 to 5 years and came back. So this is a brief introduction about Abrar. So let's just not waste the time and start the interview. Abrar, like you know, the theme of the channel is to promote the success stories of small cities. I mean, you were in United Kingdom and then you took a decision and you came back to Pakistan, and not in like Lahore, Multan, Bahawalpur. So I would like you to tell my audience why you choose to come back from United Kingdom and why you decide to settle in Bahawalpur.
Thank you for having me, Zoe. Settling abroad permanently was never on the card, but coming back to Pakistan just after 5 years was never a plan as well. Actually, it was the family, the reason I took back to the Pakistan. I've been very attached to my mother, so I decided, I started missing them after 5 years, so I decided to come back to Pakistan. But again, after coming back to the Pakistan and settling in Islamabad and Lahore or Multan or in metro cities, for say like Karachi, so again I couldn't be with the family in those cities. So it was the plan to come back to the Pakistan and settle in Bahawalpur.
Okay, great. Now you can see, I mean, he didn't make or choose that thing as an excuse. I mean, he knew he has to do something in Bahawalpur, so he chose that and he took the opportunity. Instead, I will say, he created the opportunity and took the advantage of that. Thank you. That's a very good answer, Abrar. Okay, coming back to the second question. Why you started the business? Like, it was a planning going on in your mind, or it was like because you haven't get any job in any area?
So if I recall back in the studies time, I always wanted a professional career, and as you know that that's why we decided to pursue for the ACCA qualification. But after coming back from the UK, and again I already said that I decided to settle in Pakistan. So at that time I decided that I couldn't be able to do job because of the atmosphere or the circumstances or the organizational structures we were having at that time in Pakistan. So at that time I decided that I should start a business.
Right, great. So he made a decision of doing a business. Now, like, we have to face such sort of issues in our lives. Like Abrar, your father had been a banker, he got retired from a bank. I mean, whole of his life, he spent his whole life in doing a job. So did you face any hurdles or any difficulties convincing your father to start a business instead of not doing a job?
I always had a support of my father. At the beginning, it was very tough to convince my mother actually. And I still remember that when I started a business, almost 3 to 4 weeks my mother didn't spoke to me. So it was very tough to convince her. But as the time goes on, and as sooner we established our business, so it was again at that time it was easy to convince her that it's the thing that I should be pursuing for my career.
Okay, great. Like I mentioned, Abrar has started the business. So Abrar, could you please tell my audience like how you gathered the investment and like how you started? Like I have mentioned in the introduction that Abrar has started from the grassroots level. So if you could please tell my audience that how you started and how you managed that investment.
So like I already mentioned that I already had the support of my father since day first. So I convinced my father that we should sold our old house. So it was easy to convince him, and we did sold that house and started the business from that investment we got from.
Right. Okay. Look, now this is, I would say, a very brave step. I mean, if your father is doing a job for whole of his life and his son convinced him that he needs to sell his house and he has to start a business. But I would say if you're going to take such sort of step, you need to be stay committed and you need to make sure what you are doing. And that's the reason, I mean, I would say Abrar is a successful entrepreneur of Bahawalpur. Abrar, if you could please explain my audience your 5 years of business journey. I mean, your good times, your bad times, and also if you could briefly explain the nature of your business as well.
So it's been a hard journey all along, but it was rewarding as well. About the nature of the business, at the beginning we started with the national brand, but after 3 years, almost 3.5 years, we signed a contract with the multinational leading beverages brand, and from 1 year we are working with them.
Okay, great. And I can clearly see the setup of your business right now. I mean, when we are saying a famous multinational brand, you are dealing like more than 200 people at the same time. So if you could briefly explain how you deal with the different peoples, because everyone has a different mindset.
Actually, after starting a business and doing it for almost 2 to 3 years, I actually thought that for the expansion of the business, I would need a team for the managers, because one person actually has 24 hours, but when you hire a manager, you get 48 hours for that day. So after 3 years, I still remember I hired my first manager, and since that day, we continuously are going for the expansions and building a team. Actually, delegating your duties, your authority, is a very good step to manage such a big team. So it really helped me to manage all those 200 employees.
Okay. Now my other question, you have started your business in 2015. It's 2020 now, almost more than 5 years. So in this 5 years, do you think you have to regret or you regret on any of your decision?
So I never regret a decision which I have made in those 5 years. But what I regret still today is the decisions I haven't made in those 5 years.
Okay, now most of the mindset, like people thinks that when you are running your own business, you have to like work very hard, and you have to spend day and night in managing the operations and affairs of the business. So if you could briefly tell to my audience like how you spend your day, and does your business has affected your family life?
Spending a day, I normally wake up late in the morning and spend my almost till afternoon. I spend my time with my family, and I normally go to office around 3 to 4 o'clock. But coming back from the office is normally at late night, and it is very tough to manage your family life and your work life while you are doing your business. So at the beginning, it is very difficult, but I think as you go along, you get to manage this thing. But it is very important to manage your work life and your family life. So you must work out a balance.
Okay, great. Okay, Abrar, my next question with you is, how do you define success?
Zoeb, when we were studying, I always thought that success is some sort of a destination. But when we enter a practical life, the sooner you realize that the success is actually not a destination, it's actually a journey. Normally we go for the term that successful journey. So when you enter a practical life, you realize that it is some sort of a journey. But in my case, after 5 years now, these terms like success and failures are like unknown to me.
Okay, Abrar, my most important question with you, like Do you think you are at stable stage, or do you have any ideal point? I mean, you're now running a famous distribution brand. Do you still think you have to reach somewhere?
So I would say that we are at a stable point, but still we got a lot of things to do. About the ideal point, I would say there are no ideal points in practical life. It's all about expansions, it's all about growth, it's all about improving yourself from yesterday, and you always compare yourself from your yesterday to the present. So I would say there are a lot of things to do.
Abrar, my next question with you. What do you think, or according to you, what are the top 3 skills of running a business?
Zoe, it's all about leadership. But in leadership, I would say there are some factors which define the leadership. First of all, building a team, an organizational structure is a very critical thing for the beginning, and then delegating your authority and to your subordinates and making them accountable. And thirdly, it's about risk management, how you manage the risks. And last but not least is decision making.
Abrar, my last question with you. What do you recommend to the young university graduates who have completed their studies and going to start their professional life, either to do a business or they should go towards the job?
I would say it's not a big deal. It actually does not matter whether you go for the job or you start your own business. But what I would strongly recommend to them, go for what you are passionate about, have some dreams and go for them.
Thank you very much. Abrar, thank you indeed for your time. I know you have a lot of meeting carrying on and you just managed to spare like 10 to 15 minutes. I hope you all have liked the interview and this success story. Do let me know in the comment section, and do let me know about your suggestions and feedback about this success story and obviously about this interview. Until then, take care, goodbye and Allah Hafiz. And as usual, do not forget to subscribe my channel and click or tap on the bell icon. Thank you, goodbye and Allah Hafiz.